imagine for a moment a version of humanity. Well, radically different. What if our evolutionary path took a really sharp, unexpected, not towards bigger brains and tools, but toward becoming ultimate predators? Today, we're diving into some seriously fascinating speculative biology. We'll explore a scenario where natural selection didn't really push for symbolic intelligence, culture as we know it.
Right.
Instead, it sculpted Homo sapiens into pure carnivores. It's built for hunting, no tech needed.
That's the idea. And this deep dive, well, we're going to unpack what those radical physical changes and the physiological ones too might actually look like. How every bit of our biology could be repurposed for the hunt.
Okay.
It's a journey into a sort of coherent biological package designed purely for predation. Biology just overtly rules over culture.
And it goes even further than that because ours to sketch out not just one, but like entirely different human lineages, each one perfectly adapted for unique predatory niches.
Yeah, it's not monolithic.
So our mission for you today is to take these incredible concepts, break them down, and reveal the surprising facts, the implications of such an alternate evolutionary journey. Get ready for some serious insights. Might change how you see humans.
Definitely. The core premise here, it hinges on this fundamental evolutionary split. Instead of the selective pressures favoring, complex thought, abstract thinking, the things that define us.
Yeah.
Picture a world where the relentless drive is just direct physical adaptation for getting meat. Simple as that in a way.
A scenario where, unlike our own path, the biological need to hunt just took priority over everything else.
Exactly. Biology first.
Okay, so let's really get into these radical physical changes, literally from head to toe. Paint a pretty vivid picture, right? A human reimagined for pure predation. First up, the head. What happens to our jaws, our teeth? Our current setup is, well, it's for everything, omnivorate. But a pure carnivore, that's profoundly different.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about developing much, much more powerful jaws. Just imagine the raw force you'd need, not just for chewing, but for breaking bones, tearing through tough hides, tasks that would completely eliminate any need for knives or tools. It's a jaw built for sheer crushing, tearing power, utterly unlike what we have.
And with those powerful jaws, our familiar teeth would just transform, wouldn't they? Just talk about long, sharp canines emerging, built specifically for tearing, like a lion's or wolf's.
Precisely. It's not just appearance, it's pure function. Rending flesh, brutal efficiency.
And the molars, that seems like a huge shift.
That's maybe the most striking dental change. Forget our flat grinding surfaces we have for crushing plants and buried stuff.
Yeah.
In this lineage, those get replaced by carnassials. Think specialized scissor-like teeth, engineered purely for slicing meat, like how a cat or dog shears through muscle. It's a complete redesign of how you process food.
Wow, that's a stark contrast. And the senses. How would they evolve to support a life hunting all the time?
Their senses would just be on another level entirely. You'd see a highly developed sense of smell, capable of tracking prey over huge distances, way beyond what we can even imagine. Right? Hearing would be equally sharp, maybe even with movable ears like cats or dogs have, to pinpoint the faintest sounds. Imagine perceiving the world mainly through this incredibly rich tapestry of smells and tiny sounds.
This even suggests possibly much better night vision, hunting at dawn, dusk, maybe even total darkness. Two distinct lineages, Homo panthera and Homo lupus. It shows how further specialization could happen.
Yeah, evolution keeps taking.
What's the main difference between these two branches of predatory humanity?
Okay, so Homo panthera, think of them as the solitary hunter, almost like a bipedal big cat.
Okay.
Their strategy would be stealth, often nocturnal, relying on ambushes. They embody patience, explosive strength, maybe camouflage, melting into the background, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Devastatingly efficient.
Sounds incredibly independent. What about their social structure, if any?
You nailed it. Fiercely independent, highly territorial, primarily solitary. Interactions would probably be minimal, maybe just for reproduction. Their whole psychology would be shaped by that isolation, driven by personal survival, defending their hunting grounds.
And then we have Homo lupus, so the human equivalent of a wolf pack.
Exactly. Homo lupus is the social pack hunter. Their survival hinges on coordination, cooperation. Communication becomes key. Imagine a group moving as one, using complex, synchronized tactics against bigger, tougher prey.
Which brings up a crucial point about their communication. It wouldn't be like our language at all, would it? No symbols, no abstract talk.
Not even close. Their communication would be largely instinctive, relying heavily on posture, subtle gestures, guttural sounds, all to coordinate the hunt. Think about wild dogs or wolves, how they communicate non-verbally during a chase. It's complex enough for a coordinated takedown, but it's entirely about the here and now. Immediate primal purpose, no storytelling.
It's truly fascinating to think how these huge physical changes would inevitably shape their psychology, their social structure. A mindset just dominated by the hunt, perceiving the world through those hypersenses, intense territoriality defining everything.
That's where the divergence really deepens.
Yeah.
In a Homo lupus pack, you'd likely see these sharply defined instinctive hierarchies, a rigid social order that makes cooperative hunting work.
Right.
Cooperation would be visceral, driven by the group's immediate need survival, food. Homo panthera, stark contrast. Fierce independence, self-reliance, solitary prowess defines them.
So the whole idea of society, it would just be radically different from ours, wouldn't it? So far removed from laws, shared stories, complex culture.
Absolutely. Their social fabric, if you can call it that, wouldn't be based on symbols or abstract ideas or accumulated knowledge. It's rooted in raw biology, immediate ecological necessity, cooperation, especially in Homo lupus, yes. But the mechanisms are entirely different. Instinctive responses, demands of others. There's just no room for philosophy or argument, only efficiency.
And the sources, they don't even stop there. They delve deeper, exploring even more extreme specialization, showing how far evolution can push things when the pressures get intense.
It's a powerful reminder of evolution's, well, almost boundless creativity. These are offshoots of that first hunter, but taken into really unusual territory. Creatures sculpted by unique, demanding niches.
Vastly different, strange, surprising, even unimaginable. The beauty of exobiology lies in its exploration of life's possibilities beyond our planet.
The aeropods of Blees, 581D. The Nilozoa of Eos Tau Ceti F. The Silicon Singers of HD855.
Buy it now in Google Play Books.
The Orosomas of Blees, 581C. The Arborants of Scorp. The Arborants of Scorp. The Entolons of Paladin
Homo panthera, stark contrast. Fierce independence, self-reliance, solitary prowess defines them.
So the whole idea of society, it would just be radically different from ours, wouldn't it? So far removed from laws, shared stories, complex culture.
Absolutely. Their social fabric, if you can call it that, wouldn't be based on symbols or abstract ideas or accumulated knowledge. It's rooted in raw biology, immediate ecological necessity, cooperation, especially in Homo lupus, yes. But the mechanisms are entirely visceral, instinctive responses, the demands of the hunt. There's just no room for philosophy or art here, only efficiency.
And the sources, they don't even stop there. They delve deeper, exploring even more extreme specialization, showing how far evolution can push things when the pressures get intense.
It's a powerful reminder of evolution's, well, almost boundless creativity. These are offshoots of that first hunter, but taken into really unusual territory. Creatures sculpted by unique, demanding niches.
Let's start with one that sounds pretty brutal. Homo hyenicus, a kind of human hyena. What's their deal?
This lineage prioritizes processing any remains, not just active hunting. Imagine evolution favoring not the chase, but ultimate scavenging efficiency.
Okay.
The most striking adaptation. Enormous jaw strength, capable of crushing bones to get at the marrow inside. That implies really developed muscles in the skull, the neck. Probably a stockier, more robust build. Optimized for brute force, not agility.
But dealing with carrion, that carries huge biological risks, and pathogens, toxins. It's not just about crushing bones.
You're absolutely right, and that's where their exceptional resilience comes in, especially their digestive and immune system. They'd be uniquely adapted to handle all the nasty stuff in decomposing meat.
Turning a hazard into a reliable meal.
Exactly. Homo hyenicus becomes the ultimate scavenger, an opportunistic hunter too, probably, a born survivor.
Yeah.
Able to extract every last calorie from any carcass, even in places where others might die from disease or starvation.
So a design focused on pure resilience, power, efficiency in a very specific, challenging. The sources mention another branch, equally extreme, but in a totally opposite direction from that tough bone-crushing strength.
Indeed. If Homo hyanicus is the survivor of the sun-baked savanna, it really is amazing how these ancient tales, passed down forever, still hit so hard today, offer so much insight.
They really remind us that being drawn to creatures like a werewolf helps us explore universal human conflicts. They're like reflections, aren't they? Of our deepest fears, our desires. It's a powerful way, symbolically, to explore the unknown inside ourselves.
So, thinking about this pull towards the werewolf, this symbol of the wild in us, what's it really telling us about our own journey? Trying to balance instinct with civilization. Maybe the real task isn't just taming the beast inside. Maybe it's about learning to walk alongside it. Then Homo Carnivorous, the conqueror of total darkness, is adapted for permanent twilight. We're talking about a lineage living entirely underground, deep cave systems.
Wow. How would a being even function in absolute darkness? What senses would let them thrive where they...
Well, the sources theorize about extreme sensory upgrades. We're talking incredibly heightened hearing, smell, maybe even echolocation, like bats, mapping their world and finding prey through sound.
Or maybe touch?
Or highly sensitive touch, yeah. For navigating, hunting in tight tunnels, their whole world would be sounds, smells, vibrations. A sensory universe completely alien to us.
And physically, moving through those confined, pitch-black spaces.
They'd likely be much more agile, leaner than Homo hyanicus. Their hunting style would be about stealth, agility in the dark, preying on cave creatures or anything unlucky enough to wander into their tunnels.
The contrast between these two extremes is just striking. One is sheer strength, resistance to decay, built for the open, harsh world.
And the other is stealth, super sharp senses, and almost ghost-like existence in total blackness. They represent two totally different, yet equally extreme, answers to the survival imperative as a predator. Really highlights evolution's adaptability.
And what's so compelling about all these speculative paths is how they force us to think about our own evolutionary journey, the one we actually took. The path that prioritized tools, complex language, intricate societies. It wasn't the only way, was it?
Not at all. It makes you consider how intelligence itself could have shaped up completely differently. In these predator lineages, intelligence would follow different rules, different ecological needs, cognitive paths, maybe a kind of deep instinctive wisdom instead of abstract reason.
These thought experiments really challenge our built-in ideas of what human means, don't they? Presenting these biologically plausible alternatives, the unstoppable scavenger, the silent cave dweller, alternate branches on the human tree that never quite flowered.
But still exist in the realm of biological possibility. They serve as a powerful reminder that evolution is this complex maze, choices, pressures, and our path is just one among countless possibilities. It really emphasizes life's plasticity.
And maybe, as these explorations suggest, something of that plasticity, that capacity for extremes, maybe it still lingers within us, a kind of whisper in the genome, a shadow not of what we were, but maybe what we could have been, silently influencing us in ways we don't always notice. That's something pretty profound for you to consider as you reflect on our own unique place in the whole tapestry of life.